Assalamualaikum, my name is Ahmed. I'm from School Update Campus. Today I'm going to talk with ChatGPT a topic about whatever. Hey ChatGPT, my first question is,
Of
what
course.
does whatever mean?
That's a great one. So, whatever is a really versatile word in English. It can be used in a bunch of different ways. For example, it can show indifference, like when someone says, whatever, I don't really care. Or it can mean anything, like pick whatever you want from the menu. And in casual speech, it can even be a bit dismissive. So, its meaning really depends on the context.
Where where did whatever originate?
You're absolutely right to ask for more detail. If you'd like, I can go deeper into how tone or context affects how whatever is understood. Or I can give examples of how it's used in different situations.
Why do people say whatever?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. People say whatever for a bunch of reasons. Sometimes it's because they're feeling indifferent or don't want to argue, so it's kind of a way to brush something off. Other times they use it just to mean anything you say or as a casual filler. And sometimes people use it to avoid making a decision, like whatever, just do it however. So it's really tied to attitude, emotion, and context.
When is whatever commonly used?
Yeah, that's a really common phrase, especially in informal conversation. You'll hear it a lot among friends and casual chat, or even in everyday media, like TV shows or movies. It's less common in formal writing or professional settings, but in speech, especially among younger people, it's super frequent.
Is whatever always rude?
Not always. While whatever can come across as dismissive or casual, it really depends on tone and context. In a neutral tone, it can just be a simple, open ended choice. But if someone says it with a certain flatness or a roll of the eyes, it can definitely feel rude or indifferent. So it's all about how it's delivered.
Can whatever be polite?
Exactly. People often use whatever because it gives them a way to step back from a situation without fully committing, whether they're just avoiding a debate, keeping it casual, or trying to avoid conflict. So it's a bit of a linguistic shortcut for disengaging or staying flexible.
What emotions does whatever express?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in more formal or professional situations, whatever usually comes across as too casual or even dismissive. In those contexts, people often choose words like I'm open to any option or I'm flexible or even just give a specific choice. So, whatever stays mostly in casual speech, especially among peers or when people are feeling relaxed.
How does tone affect whatever?
Tone is huge. If you say whatever with a shrug or a light, relaxed tone, it just sounds casual or indifferent. But if you say it with a sharp or dismissive tone, like a flat whatever, it can really feel rude or cutting. So it's not just the word, it's how you say it that shapes the meaning.
Is whatever formal or informal?
Yeah, whatever is definitely informal. In formal settings, you'd usually want to avoid it or choose a more precise phrase. It's really common in casual conversations, especially when people are trying to stay relaxed or avoid conflict.
How use whatever the most?
Yeah, for sure. You'll mostly use whatever when you're talking casually, like with friends or family, when you don't have strong opinions or when you're keeping things super flexible. You can say things like whatever you think is best, or just use it to brush off a small disagreement. Just be mindful of tone so it doesn't sound dismissive.
Can whatever end an urgent?
That's a good distinction. So, whatever is really about being open or indifferent, often implying no preference. Anything or whichever can also be used similarly. But when something is urgent, you'd usually be more specific. You might say, any urgent task, just let me know, or whatever you need urgently, I'll handle it. So, the key is being clear about that sense of priority.
Why do ringangers say whatever?
Yeah, that's a great observation. Younger people often use whatever because it feels casual, it gives them a way to push back without escalating, or just because it's part of everyday slang. It's kind of a go to word for expressing a laid back attitude or just keeping things from getting too serious. So it's really part of that generational linguistic vibe.
Can whatever end an argument?
Got it. So yeah, younger people tend to use whatever more often in arguments or disagreements because it's a way to disengage. It kind of signals, I don't care enough to keep arguing or I'm done with this discussion. So it doesn't always end a debate on a positive note. It's often a way to just close off the conversation.
Why is whatever misunderstood?
Yeah, exactly. It tends to be misunderstood because it can feel dismissive or like the person doesn't care about the outcome. So even though it's often just a casual filler, it can really shut down communication as the other person is expecting more engagement or validation.
What does whatever real about attitude?
That's a great point. In a lot of cases, whatever doesn't carry a lot of genuine weight, it's just a way to avoid deeper engagement. But sometimes people actually mean it sincerely, like they really don't have a strong opinion and they're giving the other person full freedom. So it's all about reading the situation and the
How does
person's
body
intent.
language change its means?
Ooh, that's a great angle. So body language can totally shift what whatever means. If someone shrugs, rolls their eyes, or looks away, it can come off as dismissive or bored. But if they keep eye contact, nod, or have a relaxed posture, it can actually just be a neutral, go ahead kind of vibe. So pairing the word with body language really gives it its full meaning.
Can whatever sound sarcastic?
Exactly. So if you're aware of how you're using it and how your body is responding, you can kind of shape the meaning. Like it might stay neutral or just soft, or it could come across as totally dismissive if the tone and body language align. So being mindful of that balance is key.
Is whatever suitable at work?
Yeah, it really can be. In some contexts, it's just a harmless filler, but when it's used in a certain tone or situation, it can definitely come across as running or dismissive. So the key is being aware of how it lands and adjusting if needed.
Okay. Can whatever hurt someone's feelings?
Exactly. Of course. If you have any more words or phrases you're curious about or any other topics, just let me know and I'm happy to break them down.
Can whatever hurt someone's feelings?
Yeah, it definitely can. If someone uses it in a dismissive tone, it might make the other person feel unheard or brushed aside. So it's definitely worth being mindful, especially if you care about the other person's feelings or you're in a sensitive situation.
How is whatever used online?
Yeah, online it's super common too. People use whatever in texts, chats, and social media, often to indicate indifference or when they don't feel like engaging further. But just like in real life, tone is harder to gauge, so sometimes it can be misunderstood as rude or cold. Context really helps clarify what they mean.
Can whatever show confidence?
Yeah, it actually can, but it depends on how you use it. If you say whatever in a calm, assured tone, it can come across as you being relaxed and unbothered, like you're confident in your stance and you don't need to justify yourself. So it's all about that steady delivery, keeping the focus on your own calm certainty.
What are polite alternative to whatever?
Ah, good question. So instead of whatever, you can say things like anything you prefer, I'm flexible, or even I'm fine with whatever you choose. These keep the conversation open, but sound a bit more polite and considerate.
Is whatever common in everyday English?
Yeah, absolutely. It's super common in everyday speech, especially among younger people or in casual conversations. You'll hear it all the time, just because it's easy, flexible, and kind of a go to phrase when people don't feel strongly.
Those social expression matter.
Absolutely. If you'd like, I can suggest other casual alternatives, things like no problem, go for it, or I'm good with that. Just let me know what kind of vibe you're aiming for, and I can help you pick the right phrase.
Can whatever express frustration?
Yeah, it really can. When someone says whatever in a sharp or exasperated tone, it often signals that they're frustrated or they just want to stop the conversation. So, yeah, it's definitely a word that can carry a lot of emotional weight depending on how it's said.
Why do people overuse whatever?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of times people overuse whatever because it's easy, it's a quick default, and it kind of lets them avoid having to explain themselves. It's just a convenient placeholder, but the more it's used, the less meaning it has, you know?
Thank you so much for watching. Allah Hafiz.